Only the true brethren.
Resident Evil 4 is a 2005 game by Capcom. It's amazing, considering that it's 15 years old, it's outstanding how much the gameplay holds up. Plus, the many ports and remasters kept the graphics serviceable. If you haven't played it, you're missing out. Let's begin. Resident Evil 4 takes place in Spain, where Leon S. Kennedy, an American secret agent, is sent to investigate on a possible lead on the kidnapped daughter of the US President, Ashley Graham. It is soon revealed that the local population is infected with ancient parasites called Las Plagas that, in addition to giving them better strength, puts them under control of a cult called Los Iluminados. The cult leader plans to infect Ashley and thus infiltrate the White House, so it's up to you to stop his plan, rescue the girl and find out what's Umbrella's involvement in all of this. It's a simple and unassuming plot that will make you go through a multitude of environments while fighting plenty of henchmen and bosses. I think the enemies are a good place to begin this, as the combat is truly the best part of the game. The Ganados, blanket name for all Plagas controlled humans, are such a joy to fight. They react to damage in a satisfying way and there's more than just the head for you to aim at. By aiming for the legs, it is possible to make them fall over, and shots will make them drop their weapons, and some attacks leave them open for melee moves. Throughout the story, you'll find different types of Ganados. You start with hordes of villagers wielding farm tools and dynamite, then meet cultists using medieval weapons such as flails, crossbows or Gatling guns, finally reaching soldiers mixing in stun batons and better protection. At times, their heads will explode, revealing the parasite which will keep on fighting. To face this threat, you've got an ample choice of weapons sold by this guy.
Got something that might interest you.
Enemies drop money and there's treasure to find and sell, also you can purchase guns or upgrade them. Thank you, merchant, you truly are my greatest ally. Pistols, rifles, an SMG, shotguns, magnums, an explosive dart launcher and RPGs. They're all satisfying and deadly. You unlock better guns as you advance the story and you can upgrade the stats of each one. Most guns can have their damage, fire rate, magazine capacity or reload speed increased, and each one has a unique upgrade. I wish you could upgrade melee as well, it's really fun to use, but the damage is a bit underwhelming. And while we're on it, upgrading the early weapons is a bit of a waste. There's also grenades you can loot off enemies, levels and wildlife that will help you deal with mobs of Ganados. Besides stunning everyone, flash grenades also kill exposed Plagas. Another thing to mention is the inventory system. You've got a briefcase that can hold a finite amount of items and you can buy bigger ones. It's seldom limiting, but you'll often be shuffling items around depending on the size of your autism. After big fights, in which you'll be looting and using items, you'll naturally be drawn to tidying up your inventory, which is a pretty smart way to give the player some quiet time without resorting to puzzles. Treasures and key items also don't occupy any space. Before we explore the gameplay further, let's touch on the story a bit. It is extremely cheesy, but pretty good.
Where's everyone going? Fungal?
Eventually you'll meet Ashley and she's probably the best escort quest ever.
Looks like this is it.
Ugh, it stinks.
Sure does.
No way, Leon.
Way.
She always stands behind you and does her best to not get in the way. If she's in the line of fire, she'll get down, although she'll keep crouching even if you reload. Occasionally she can hide in dumpsters and wait for you to clean up the enemies. You can then whistle for her, like a dog. She sticks so close to you that it's like having a big hitbox. although it can be tricky to get both her and Leon out of danger when the enemy is close. There's a couple of sections dedicated to protecting her from enemies. It's a fine novelty that never really gets annoying. She often gets kidnapped to alternate alone and paired levels. An NPC escort this well made makes me despise games that didn't even try.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
No way.
If caring for Ashley becomes too much for you, you can unlock a special costume that makes her invulnerable to all harm and grabs. The other characters are fun as well. Bosses have a good build up as we encounter them a couple of times before the boss fight and we always understand their personality. Not much their motivation, they're all big old cheeseballs with good but humorous performances that mostly want to kill you because it's their job. Salazar in particular and his banter with Leon is...
I've sent my right hand to dispose of you.
Your right hand comes off?
comedy gold. He looks and acts like a child, but apparently Leon thinks he's old.
But I'm afraid it's Ashley we need. Not you, Mr. Kennedy.
If you don't need me, then get off my back, old man.
Me llamo Ramon Salazar.
Drinking has ruined my life.
I'm only 20 years old.
I also like the variety of impractical and ridiculously complex trap and machinery he throws your way. An aspect of the world that's downright nonsensical is the merchant. He's never explained or even mentioned. If you kill him he comes back and his placement in levels is sometimes comical. He even runs a shooting gallery that awards you bottle cap figurines of in-game models. To be honest, I prefer him unexplained. Perhaps the most hilarious moment in the campaign is Mike.
Llévalos de pólvora. Ahí está.
He comes in, helps a bit.
Thanks. When we get out of here, drinks are on me.
Yeah, hey, I know a good bar.
Dies immediately and Leon goes Mike! Guns are also comically stealthy in this game. But, returning to the bosses, they're a mixed bag. They go from way too easy to frustrating. It mostly depends on their use of QTEs. In general, the Resident Evil 4 QuickTime events have become infamous. We've all been there, you're 40 minutes into a cutscene and enjoying the story. ¿Por qué está aquí, americano?
Looking for the new cure.
Có chữ thời con cặc đồ mày nói chuyện vô dân quá. Mày coi chừng mày chết với tao nha mày.
Their using cutscenes is fine, even the most carpal tunnel-inducing ones have checkpoints right before them, but during bosses they either make the encounter a cakewalk or hinder your ability to fight back. I mean that if the X+C QTE is active, you won't be able to shoot and stagger some bosses. I'd have preferred the crouch or evade button, but the game was made for the medieval tapestry system and there's only so many buttons on a loom. Anyway, there's fights like the Lago and Dios mío, El Gigante that are just fine. Then there's the major bosses.
The big cheese.
And Salazar are really easy. Krauser, the quattro formaggi pizza that he is.
If you try to do anything clever, I will kill you. All for Umbrella's sake.
Umbrella?
Almost let it slip. Enough talk. Die, comrade! You don't seriously think a conservative mind can chart a new course for the world, do you?
Lets you use melee in the fight as well, but the QTE bug I mentioned before forces you to just corner and shank him. Then there's Adam Sadler. He's an okay fight, you stab him a few times, by the way, nice plan, Mautai. And then Ada throws you a special launcher out of nowhere and you one-shot him. Oh, and
Since you're here, why don't I introduce you to it? It should keep you busy.
Can't remember the name, huh? A senior moment, perhaps.
Oh,
This fight can go fuck itself. In fact, every boss fight can go fuck itself by virtue of you purchasing an RPG from the merchant. Also there's tracks.
Now you've done it.
In general, boss fights are less fun than fighting ganados, they're just so wonderfully thought out. From their voice lines,
¡Un forastero! ¡Ahí está! Voy a hacer picadillo.
Empieza a rezar!
to their weapons. When you think of medieval weaponry, you'd probably picture a sword before a flail, but the rattling of the chains plus the little wind-up makes them perfect for enemies. Then there's the dynamite throwing ganados that often help you out. Unless they grab you, enemy never chain attacks. Every time you hit, they give you a second or two to try and get out of danger. There's also very few hit scan enemies, and the ones that are not only give you ample warning, but also sweep right to left rather than straight up aiming for you. Speaking of, there's special ganados fighting alongside regular ones. Censo peasants can insta-kill you and are more tanky. The Garradores are blind and mostly armored. They deal lots of damage, but you can fool them with sound. They're a lot of fun to fight. JJ, the minigun guy, is a bit underwhelming. Just aim for the head and stay out of sight. Then there's Wolves, Regeneradores and Novistadores. They make the trifecta of horror. Regeneradores in particular are unnerving. It's just the sound they make and the way they move. However, once you get the thermal scope, they stop being a problem. See, just shoot all the plagas and he explodes. Admittedly, the tougher enemies being money piñatas defeats the tension a bit. The main reason why fighting ganados is so fun is limitations, tank controls. You can't strafe and you can't move and shoot at the same time, so you're going to use your weaponry to not just kill the mob of enemies but also control them. Line up double headshots with rifles, knock them back into a clump with a shotgun, stagger one with a pistol and kick them all. If an enemy is running, you can aim for their legs to make them fall down face first. If they're attacking you, just walking backwards can often avoid damage, or maybe you can bait an attack by stopping short. And if you're empty, you'll need to find a safe moment to reload. Speaking of, reload animations are stylized. For example, the shotgun always reloads 2 shells, but I'm sure nobody wants to reload it like... The silliest one is perhaps the mine thrower, which is apparently a break action magazine fed grenade launcher. Overall they're long enough to require you to be mindful, but short enough where you can always reload in a fight. Combat really is amazing. Testament to this is the extra game mode, the Mercenaries. You select a character, a level and then just fight. Chaining kills will give you extra points and there's way to increase your game time. It's really fun. Ada and Leon are a bit vanilla, but the other characters are interesting. Hank just weaves through mobs of enemies jumping from neck to neck. Krauser can use his large thing to penetrate ganados with explosive force, and lastly Wesker carries lots of high damage weapons. Combat for 0.6 works so well. I wish there was a score attack mode for the campaign. Also unlockable are the 2 Ada campaigns. Assignment Ada is just one shortish level that asks you to recover plaga samples. It should have been Assignment Krauser or Assignment Hank in my opinion. Then there's It's a fully fledged campaign, not as long as the main game, but long enough. You go through the plot of the main story, but controlling Ada this time. It's fine, but there's very little that's unique. It recycled so much. There's one new level with a boat fight, one new boss fight with pre-Spider Saddler, and that's it. It's funny that it actually doesn't explain anything. For example, the special launcher at the end is still coming out of nowhere. One thing that's explained is that Wesker wanted Leon to fight with Saddler and basically get the sample for them. But if that's the case, why didn't Krauser and Ada team up with him? I mean, I guess Ada did? What did Krauser do to you? The one new ability Ada has is the grappling hook, but it's just a prompt that gets you to high places, like on this roof where this chicken just shot out a key. In my opinion, it should have been an equipable weapon, able to make the enemy fall down from a distance and also able to attach to specific material like the rope bow in Thief. Also, cutscenes are at a lower resolutions than normal ones, no idea why. Overall, it's a fine bit of side content. Lastly, there's a few more unlockable things, the special costumes I mentioned before, then there's weapons you can buy in New Game Plus. There are various degrees of overpowered, but unfortunately repeat runs don't have anything new, so I don't do them often. Also, there's Pro Mode. Normally the game has a scaling difficulty system that frankly I don't care much for, as I like health numbers consistent and challenge unchanged. It is true that in Pro Mode bosses and QTs in particular get way harder, but just making the Ganados as reactive as they can is reason enough for me to prefer it. Last thing to touch on is the presentation. As said before, the sound design is amazing when it comes to enemies. The music, however, is sometimes less than inspired. The bad music is especially irritating because there's no audio option, which frankly is inexcusable. Despite being 15 years old, the models still hold up, but textures don't always do. On the bad side, some reload animations have a lower frame rate and the game has a grain effect that sometimes goes way overboard. You can disable it via mods if you want. Also, there's visual filters. Why would anyone use them? I got no idea. The only real problem is that some effects slow the game down. It's not even FPS drop, it's just... Thankfully it doesn't happen often. So?
Resident Evil 4.
It's one of the best games ever made. It's lengthy, fun, and it has replayability and side content. Not necessarily flawless, the QTs in general get in the way and the changing difficulty is bad. Also, the puzzles aren't ever interesting. But overall, it's an amazing game and one of those titles that seems timeless. There's no excuse for not having played it. The only bad thing with the PC HD version is that they didn't include co-op for Mercenaries mode. I can see people disliking the cheesy story or having to babysit Ashley, but even then it's worth playing. It's just such a finely tuned experience that I recommend it to everyone. Okay, that was Resident Evil 4. Thanks for watching. See ya!